What's going on YouTube? Welcome to Wes's Angling. Today we're at Mere Lane Fishery, which is on the way into Southport, and I'm going to be doing something a little bit different for you. What I'm going to be doing is testing a rod and reel setup for under £70. What I wanted to do for you, as you know, if you're following the channel, I like to save you a few quid where I can. If you're brand new to feeder fishing, you might not want to spend hundreds of pounds on a rod and reel setup. So what I wanted to do is have a search about and test out a couple of products where you could get a rod and reel setup for under 70 quid. Now 70 quid's not a lot of money when you're talking about rod and reels, but what I also wanted to do is I didn't want to cheap out. I didn't want to go for something that's non-branded that isn't going to last. So I've opted for Shimano, and I'll show you the products in a second, but both of these products fall under the £70 bracket. So the reel was £25.99 and the rod was £43.99. Now, I've bought these brand new, they're not second hand or anything like that. You'll be able to pick them up online. Obviously prices are changing all the time, so I can't promise that when you watch this video it's going to be the exact same price, but the price is going to be there or thereabouts. I will put a link to the products in the description below, but what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to mention the websites that I bought them off. I don't want to give them publicity. So because I've bought these with my own money, and I bought a setup for me and setup for my dad, and he's going to be testing it as well. So I've never fished Mere Lane Fishery before, so I don't know what the fishing is going to be like, but hopefully we catch a few and manage to test out the rod and reel combo. I wanted to test what the drag's like on the reel and a few other things, but there you go. That's the rod and reel. It's a Shimano Sienna reel. I hope I'm saying that right. I think I am. And the feeder is a Shimano precision feeder. It's a 10 foot, which is perfect for commercials, and it's an Euro ×1. Okay, like I said, I'll put the details for the products in the description below, so you can have a look if you wanted to get this set up for yourself. The quality seems good so far, so I'll give you a quick look at it. Let's get it into the open so you can see it clearer. It's just turned first light, so it is a little bit dark still, but hopefully you can still see it on the camera. Comes with 2 quiver tips. It's got a 1 ounce and a 1.5 ounce tip, which is perfect for any kind of method feeder or small feeder up to about 40 grams. So there you go, precision 10 foot, and that's the reel. Now I will say first of all about the reel, the quality is alright, the drag seems good, but I mean it does seem a little bit plasticky compared to some of the other Shimano products, but it still looks well built. It's a 4000 reel, which is, you know, pairs perfectly with this 10 foot rod. It's nice and small. I've just loaded it with some 10 pound Daiwa sensor, and that's the reel. So a Sienna 4000 Shimano, both Shimano products, so you know that you're going to get decent quality with this. So I've still got the plastic on it. I will take that off in a minute because that'll do my head in today. Weather's atrocious, so I've got my Pentalite brolly shelter up and I'm all set up. Got some wafters there ready to go, and I've got some ground bait mixed. So I've just got a ground bait and pellet mix there that I'm going to be using. I am fishing on the normal course lake here at Mere Lane. They do have 4 fisheries, and I know this is not a fishery review video, but what I will do is I will give it a scoring for you. The other reason that we've come here today is I actually wanted to have a look at the specimen lake, which is actually behind me. I wanted to have a look at the specimen lake because it is a lake that I want to fish. Now you can do overnighters on there, or you can fish it on a day ticket, but you've got to book on for the day ticket. Prices here, I think it's £8 for 1 rod and £9 for 2, so pretty reasonable prices, and you've got a good choice of lakes. Don't know what the fishing's like at all, but I'm trying new places for you all. I don't want to go to the same places all the time. Out of interest as well, what I've also bought is I've got myself a new landing net handle, because I go through landing net handles like nobody's business. I have a step I have a step on them, or they just end up breaking on me. I do not have much luck with landing net handles, so I think I've been through 3 this year. I mean, it's probably because I cheap out on them, but you know, I should probably just spend a bit of money and get a proper one. But let's test this rod and reel setup, and we'll get some feeders bombed out and see how it does. I'm going to be looking at things like how it casts, how it retrieves and things like that for the reel. The rod looks really good quality. It's got a nice textured finish. I did really want to show you on the high quality camera, but to be honest with you, It's not the right weather conditions to be getting that camera out today, so we're going to have to make do with the GoPro, but hopefully you'll get the idea. So the rod comes with the rod bag, as you'd expect with a feeder rod, and like I say, you've got two tips. It looks strong enough. The rod seems like it's got a good amount of flex, which is what you want. You don't want a stiff rod because that's going to lead to hook pulls and things like that, and you want a nice forgiving action. The rod's got some nice detailing on the blank. You've just got these red wraps around it. It's a nice textured finish, the rod. And then you've got a nice cork and foam handle. Like I said, I've tested the drag on it. It does seem smooth, which is what you want. Want a nice smooth drag. Obviously you've got a line clip. It only comes with one spool, which you'd expect with a feeder reel anyway. I actually think this is meant to be a spinning reel, but it does the same thing. It's meant for retrieving feeders, lures, that kind of thing, so it's nice and strong. So I've already got a method feeder on here, so it's good to go. I've just got size 14 hook, and I'm just going to be banding some wafters on, and it's a nice heavy feeder, so it'll be a good test. It's 40 grams. We'll get that lobbed out a good few times. I'm going to try and fish over to that little island. I might get my other rod out in a bit and fish down to this right hand side as well. Jesus, massive carp just splashed here, right next to them reeds. Really big fish. Like I said, I've never fished here before. I haven't got a clue what's in the lake. I know in the specimen lake they've got a sturgeon that goes up to about 33 pounds and carp up to 29, it says on a website. Now you don't know how true that is, but that's what it's advertised. This wind's picking up, that's why I picked this corner. The wind's blowing right into this corner. But yeah, we're all set up, we're ready to go. Hopefully we catch a few. I'm going to try down this side first where I've just seen that carp jump, and I'm going to have a line over to the island as well. I'll probably swap between the two. Tell you what folks, I'm not really impressed with the pegs here. There's no proper platforms or anything like that. It's all slutchy and muddy and doesn't seem very well maintained. So I'm using the heavier tip today because obviously I'm using a heavy feeder. Drag seems good so far, which you'd expect on a brand new reel. But for $25.99, that reel is absolutely superb. That's so cheap. Like I say, you can use it for spinning, you can use it for feeder fishing, doesn't matter. You're retrieving heavy objects, that's the point of a spinning reel, so perfect for this kind of situation. Like I say, a nice smooth drag as well. Loaded it nicely with that 10-pound mono, and it seats really well on the reel. I can't see that wrapping up or anything like that underneath. It's really tight against the bottom of the spool, so you're not going to get line going underneath your reel on a miscast or anything like that, which is brilliant. Hook lengths on. Okay folks, so before we start, I'm going to take this off because I can't stand leaving this plastic on. I've left this on because I wanted to show you that it was a brand new rod. And like I said, I've gone out, bought two of them, one for me to test, one for my dad to test, just for you guys. I'm going to just get the swim started by throwing some of this pellet and ground bait mix in where I saw that fish jump. So let's go just off the corner of them reeds there. That'll be awesome. Looks shallow there. And we're going with an 8mm pink wafter to start with. Won't squeeze it in too tight. That's perfect on the feeder. And I'm just gonna actually just walk this in and drop it in gently. That'll be perfect there. I'll lift that up a touch and we'll tighten down to that feeder. That 1.5 ounce is perfect for those feeders. It's not dragged the feeder or anything like that when I've tightened up to it. Might be a little bit of time before we get a bite. It's a nice orange visual tip, and like I said, this blank, it's like a textured effect, and then you've got like a cross texture going towards the bottom of the blank there. And again, it's an Euro ×1 precision feeder, 10 foot. I really like Shimano products. I've got a lot of Shimano products, that and Daiwa. I think you're getting quality with those brands, and this is just showing you that it can be cost effective as well. You don't have to spend a fortune. If you're new into feeder fishing, this little setup's perfect. You don't have to spend, you know, 100, 200 quid on a rod and reel setup. This little setup's fine when you're starting out. If you wanted to improve it later, you can do that. It's snaggy here, especially over to the island. Well, I'm calling it an island, it's more like a tree. But there's like poles coming up out of the water around it. I'm guessing that's to stop people casting across to the other side, but like I said, that first fish that I saw jump was just out here, across from these reeds. So that's where we'll try first. I know we're testing this rod out today, but what I'm going to do is I'll probably fish 2 rods. That'll give us our best chance for catching. And I'm just going to have my other one start building up a swim closer to the island, and we'll see which line's most productive, and hopefully get a few fish on this new rod. That's the main point of this session. And like I said, to check out the specimen lake as well, which looks really nice actually. Just got my other rod set up. As you know, these are my favourite rods, Shimano Speedmasters. Quite a bit more expensive than these X1 feeder rods. However, you can still pick them up second hand. Absolutely amazing rods. Definitely my favourite rods. If I could get 2 more of them, I definitely would, just in case one of them breaks. They're that good. But I've had these years now and they're still running strong. They're a really forgiving rod. They've got a nice curve. They pretty much bend all the way to the rod, but as you've seen, if you're following the channel, I use them in most of my videos, and I've just got Daiwa crossfire reels with these. So I'm going to fish this one out towards the island, start building up a swim. 8mm wafters again, I think. Pink wafters. In fact, let's go a little bit heavier on this other rod. Let's go with a size 12 hook. And a 10mm wafter. Looks quite a coloured water this, which can be a good sign. It can show fish activity. Means it's probably well stocked. So this will give us our best visibility in this water. A nice big wafter. Quite a big hook, so it's probably going to stop us getting pestered by smaller fish. So if this one goes off, it's probably going to be a better fish. But there you go. If we want to catch some smaller fish later, we can always change our hook link down to like a 7 pound and a size 16 hook, something like that. But that'll do for now. This will be a good comparison as well between what I would call a more expensive setup, not the most expensive setup by any means, but a more expensive setup. I think these are about 60 quid, these Daiwa crossfire reels, and the Shimano Speedmasters are 120 odd. I think they were new. So you can see how that's 160, 180 pound setup, and this for under 70 pounds is absolutely amazing. I'm sure that they're going to have enough fighting power to land most fish in commercial waters, but hopefully we get one for you today and we'll be able to give it a good test. This is the fishery. It's quite a big fishery, decent sized lake. It goes all the way back down the other side as well. My dad's on the peg next to me on the right here. It was chucking it down this morning, so that's why we've got the shelters up. Like I say, I've never been here before. That's one of the exciting things about fishing a new fisheries. You don't know what you're going to catch. I'd rather have the surprise, and I've not done much digging on the website. I just like to come and see what I get. If anything's going to catch us a fish, it's the pink wafters. As a lot of you have agreed with me, the pink ones seem to do the best. a lot of you are saying that you have caught on the other flavours, but I think most of you say that you have the best success off the pink ones and the chocolate orange. The chocolate orange are a good flavour as well. I have caught a few on the yellow, not really had much on the orange ones, but Sonia baits are good products. So if you're going for some wafters as well, I would recommend those. The Sonia baits washed out wafters and the Sonia baits chocolate orange. The orange ones seem to do better than the brown ones though, in the chocolate orange packs. Another little tweak on the rod tip. Like I said, $69.98 is what I paid for the setup. Now, that's not saying that you won't be able to get it cheaper with like a discount code or something like that, but that's what I've paid. So have a shop around, you might be able to get it even cheaper. A bit of a side note, a couple of you have told me that the size 10 swivels that I said I was using for my method feeders don't fit in your feeder. I just got mine off eBay. I'm not sure what they were. They weren't branded or anything like that. So I've tried out a couple of other sizes, some branded ones, and it seems like the size 11 fits perfectly into the bottom as well. Well, it's quite snug, but the size 11 quick change swivels seem to go well into the bottom of these Preston Innovation method feeders. So if you wanted to get branded ones, the size 11s, I'm not sure what these eBay ones are that I bought, but that's just what I use anyway. So if you wanted to try that, you can try that. You might have to play about with a couple of different sizes until you get the right fit, but these size 11s seem to fit perfectly. There you go. But like I said, I have some size 10s that fit as well, but I'm guessing they vary quite a lot in size from the different brands. There we go. So we're just off that island. I'm going to move this rod to this left hand rod butt. I'll tighten back down to that in a second. You can see how much lighter those Shimano Speedmasters are to these other feeder rods. Really thin. I like to think there's going to be a bit more backbone in the Euro ones. Looks like the fella's on the opposite bank into his first fish, so they are feeding. I think they're fishing carp methods, seems to be that way anyway. Yeah, it's carp. Looks like a decent lump of a fish actually. It's a good sign. If you wanted to come and fish here as well, not that you will at the moment because I haven't caught much, but if we do have a good day and you wanted to come and fish here, I'll put the address in the description for you. And if you are interested in seeing fishery reviews, I'll put a link in the top right hand corner of the screen now, so that you can have a look at some of the fishery reviews around this area. Just had our first bite. I missed it, could have been a liner, so I'm going to drop it back down there. Make sure you leave it to go right round when you're fishing a method feeder. Don't do what I just did and lift into it straight away. Do as I say, not as I do. Just going to drop this in gently again. Stealthy. Definitely don't ignore the margins at this time of year. Even though the temperature's dropped, fish will still be feeding in the margins. So I've tightened up to that feed. I'm going to recast this one because I've got a feeling that's really shallow there where I am. So I'm just going to come towards me a little bit more. But I've got a feeling it's going to be this left-hand margin that's going to be productive today. Let's stand up. I can't really cast because of my brolly shelter. That's a bit better, a bit closer in. And like I normally do, I'll be casting about until I find where the fish are. I'm not scared of casting in multiple spots. If I haven't caught anything within probably the first hour and a half, something like that, I'll scale down. So I'll go to a size 16s and probably look at fishing a 6mm wafter. Because at least then we'll catch something. Just want to go in with the bigger wafters and the heavier line first, just in case there's any carp in the swim. Well, first fish feels small, like a bream. Nice carp. Yeah, it's just a bream, I think.
Just off that reed there.
Just out the side?
Yeah.
How did the rod hold up? Okay.
Yeah.
Good. We've got a fish. It's on the wrong rod, but just shows that we might need to scale down a touch. 6mm pink wafter's done it again. Well, at least we've not blanked. So my dad's carp then was about £4 on that rod, so it's held up well there, as you'd expect it to. So let's get this back down that margin on the left hand side. We're in on the rod, guys. Feels like a carp. Oh no, that's a decent bream actually. It's wrapped itself up in the in the line. That's a slab. Absolute slab of a bream. Look at that. It's probably about 4-inch thick. Rod worked perfectly, nice soft action. Thrown it down in a puddle, but there we go. It's fishing tackle, it's meant to be abused. But lovely bream. Let's try and get another one. I just want to say thanks to everybody that's subscribed as well, because we're now over 1,000 subscribers, which is absolutely awesome. And well done to Rob, who won the 1,000 subscriber giveaway. I'll be doing plenty more giveaways in the future, so don't worry if you didn't win. But I'll just recast down that left hand margin. A little bit closer in this time, probably a bit closer in, to be quite honest with you. I'm probably only about a foot off them reeds. And I've got my other rod over to the island with a smaller wafter on. I'm just using a 50-50 mix of pellet and ground bait. I've not mixed any up fresh for today. This is just some stuff that I had in the freezer that I've defrosted. The problem when you defrost it, it doesn't really stick on the method feeder as well as it does when it's fresh. It tends to be a little bit more springy, but it still works. And like I said, today's just about testing out that new rod and reel. I'm going to try fishing a little bit closer in this time with this right hand rod. Okay, so we've not had anything on that rod down the margin to the left after that bream, so I'm going to see how it casts. But feels stiff enough and strong enough to whack a feeder out. So I'm just going to cast it to that island where I was before. And that casts perfectly, really smooth out the rings. Let's sink it. Like I said, these 10-foot rods are perfect for most commercials. There we go, so we're tightened down to that. And this smaller one that's got the 16 hook on it, we'll put down the left margin here. I'm still hopeful that we can pick up a carp down there. Let's see if we can trick them with a slightly smaller wafter. The temperature's dropped massively over the last few days, which possibly could be affecting the fishing. Who knows? Hard to get a true reflection on how a fishery fishes unless you fish it often. So that's both rods back out. That cast out nicely to the island, almost zero effort involved. It could definitely cast a lot further than that. That's probably the best part of 25-30 metres over to that island, maybe even more. Oh wow, I think that's a roach. Oh, that's a nice roach. Look at this roach. That's a proper fish. I think that's definitely the biggest roach I've ever had. Look at that thing. Can't argue with that for a roach, can you? So I swapped that for the 6mm, move the rods around on the hopes that we're going to get one on the rod that we're testing. And this has gone straight round. So if there's roach like this in this swim, I might swap this one to a 6mm wafter as well. Well, we're getting some nice silvers today, but no carp. So what I'm going to do is the rod that we're testing, I'm going to scale this one down as well. So we'll swap this to a 6mm wafter and a size 16 hook, and we'll see if we can get some more of them nice silvers. Does make a change from catching carp. So that's that swapped. Nice and easy with that quick change swivel. I'm just going to pull that back into the feeder like that. So that's good to go. Let's load it up and get it back down that margin where I had that roach. Typical that it was on the rod that we're not testing though. That's a similar spot to where it was. And the sink our line. Right, hopefully we get a fish on there now. Watch us get a fish on this other one now, closer to the island. I need to give this other one a good test. 20 pound carp, that's what we need on this left hand rod. Although I think I'd struggle to get it in with a size 16 hook and 7 pound hook link. But it seems smooth on the retrieve of the feeder. Casting's smooth out the rings. Drag seems good on it, on that reel. It seems like the rod's soft enough to play the smaller fish, but also seems like it'd have enough backbone to play some big carp as well. I'm impressed. Can't really go wrong, can you, for under 70 quid? Nice looking rod and reel combo as well, matching. So I think if I was to fish here again, I'd probably fish the specimen rods on Vital Arms, especially in weather conditions like this. My tips are blowing all over the place. It's very hard to see any little indications and stuff like that. Really strong toe on the water as well. Look at it. Waves. So I've got one out towards this little island. I've got one down this margin here, across from them reeds. Both of them are on the 6mm now. Come on, I want another one of them nice roach. Or one of them slabs of bream. Or a 20 pound carp. Anything, take anything at the minute. Gudgeon. I had the rod down the margin there, and it just shot off, nearly ripped the rod off the rod rest. And I've got my drag set right and everything, it can still pull line, but the hook link snapped. That's the problem. You see, I scaled down to get those bream and roach, went for a 7 pound hook link, and something just snapped that clean. So there must be some decent carp in here. You know, 7 pound hook link's fairly strong. I'm going to have to upsize it. Kicking myself because I never normally go that light, you know, but it just shows you that the fish is still quite active at this time of year, because that was a decent carp. So let's go back to this 9 pound hook link. But yeah, I can't believe it. Snapped it clean. Well, I don't think this is what broke me, but it's a nice bream again. I can't get him in it. Oh. Another nice slab, look. It's come out in the net. That's on an 8mm wafter, that. Really nice bream. Catch them all day long. Just shows you that the slightly bigger hook and slightly heavier hook link doesn't put the fish off. So I should listen to my own advice and fish heavier. Definitely gutted about getting broke, because that would have been a really good fish. I'm into a better fish. Feels like a carp, it's running. Got the drag set pretty low on this reel. Don't know how reliable it is. Let's going to turn it up a touch. Definitely a better fish, this, guys. This rod's coping great. So this is on the Euro ×1 precision feeder. As you can see, tip's bending round nicely, but the midsection of the rod blank is fairly stiff, so it's taking all those lunges. Reel drag's nice. Don't know how big it is, so drag's working, as you can hear. Wind's really picking up, as you can tell from my shelter. Nearly taking me out. Just going to turn this drag down a touch. Don't want to put too much pressure on it, and I don't know how big they go to in here fish. This one's certainly fighting. The carp do tend to fight harder on bigger waters like this than they do on small commercials. They've got more swimming space. I think they build up more strength. Really good test of this rod, this fish. This is the kind of fish that you're going to be catching in a commercial venue on a feeder rod. God, it is going, this fish. There we go. Got it. Whoa. Nice carp still. Bit deformed. Give you a quick look at it before we put it back. Very, very deformed. Let's put it back. That wasn't a monster, but I'm impressed with how that rod handled the fish. Certainly up to the challenge. See if we can get a bigger one. Might be a few carp moved into that margin now. I just had a take on the right hand rod, close in. Potentially another bream because it's unhooked. It was a good take though, the rod tip went right round. Got a fish on the right hand rod. Taking some line. God, it's windy. Oh, let's get this in because I think this other rod's going. This one's got mouth damage as well. Not nice to see that. Little mirror carp. Just trying to keep an eye on this other rod as well. Yeah, this one's got a deformed mouth. 2. Let's get it back. Well, day's improving. That was on a 10mm wafter, that little carp. Maybe the carp have come on the feed. They're definitely closer in rather than further out. Guys, just look at this wind. I'm having to hold the Pentolite up. Rods are out, keeping an eye on them. It's like the sea, look at the water. I think I've figured out where the fish are. They're not tight up to the reeds. They're probably 3 or 4 foot off the reeds. Let's get some bait back in, because I've got a feeling that any bait that's on these feeders is just going to get swept away pretty quick. Bloody hell, fire. Well guys, if I was to rate this fishery for my fishery reviews, I will come and do a proper fishery review here, but so far I think about a 6.5 out of 10. The place could do with a little bit of maintenance. There's a good choice of lakes though, there's 4 lakes. They have a canal lake, they have a donut lake, they have a specimen lake where the carp go to late 20s, and also a 33-pound sturgeon in there as well, which would be a cracking fish to catch. But yeah, 6.5 so far. I mean, we've caught, if you wanted to come here for silvers, I think this would be really good for decent bream and roach. It's not been a bad day so far. Really good about getting snapped, so that'd be probably why I'm lowering my rating. And it's bloody windy. It's bad conditions today. It's warmed up a little bit though. Hopefully we can get a few more before we pack up. Got a good few hours fishing left. I definitely recommend this rod and reel combo if you want to get into feeder fishing. It's coming up to 3 o'clock now and I'm about to get packed up. Rain's still coming down and it's still really windy. Oh, I'm in. Oh, let's put the camera down. Right. Oh my god, it's other ones in and all. Minutes other rod. Dad, have you got a fish? No. Come and help me. Got a double hook up here. You know, yeah, this is the bigger one. Alright, give me a little. You're rodding, yeah?
Yeah, but I've took there like that.
Yeah, they both feel alright. I was just doing my outro, Dad. Oh, I think this is a good one. Look at it run. Drag's nice and smooth on this reel. Like I said guys, it is a spinning reel, but absolutely ideal for this kind of feeder fishing. Obviously it's designed for casting lures out. That's a good fish, that one, isn't it? Oh, Dad! Well, at least I saw it. It's a nice carp, that.
Yeah, very similar size to the
Yeah, it definitely feels a good fish. Just give it a rest for probably about an hour down that margin, and I've just put both of them back down. Alright, let's come in. Oh yeah, it's not a bad carp, that. They've all had bad mouths.
Yeah.
They're not very well cared for. No lips on them. Must be heavily fished.
Doing that have a lot of matches at weekend, isn't it?
Well, that's yeah, it's a good £7 that, I think. Not far
So
off.
that's biggest thing.
Yeah, definitely. Nice, it's heavy. It's really deep bodied. It's hard to tell when you're on the camera, but look at how thick it is. It's heavy in the net, I can feel it. Surprisingly. Surprisingly big fish that, I think. Double hook up. I mean, my dad lost his, but at least we landed one of them for you. Oh, I forgot what I was saying now. Yeah, anyway, I recommend the rod and reel combo. As you could see with that fish then, handled it perfectly. Under £70 for a rod and reel setup. It's really cheap. So, like I said, I will put the name of the products down below. I won't put where I got them from because obviously I don't want to give them free advertising, but I recommend it if you're just coming into feeder fishing. It'll work for method feeder fishing like I'm doing today, or it'll work for cage feeder, you know, maggot feeder, anything like that. So if you want to get into a bit of winter feeder fishing, I would get one of them rod and reel combos while they're still cheap. Let's have one last cast. Quick change swivel's done the job. I think when it comes to fishing, colour matters a lot more than flavour. Let me know in the comments if you think I'm right. Hard work getting these bait screws in, which I'm trying. The only way I've found is to just push them against your nail. Probably a bit far out that, but it doesn't matter. God, it shot off into them reeds then. Yeah, quick. I put some pressure on it then, I tell you. It's amazing, isn't it? And the hook length hasn't snapped or anything. Yeah. Bit of a violet tape before and I lost it. It's a decent fish, that. Oh, look at that. It's on a yellow. My God. Well, it's still got its mouth parts, that one. Looks a bit swollen, doesn't it? Look at that.
A bit rough out there.
Looks like it's infected, doesn't it? Almost. Should I put some of that iodine stuff on it? No. Like it's... The barbules look infected. All abscessed. Do you want to put it back? Yeah, on a yellow one, eh? It's a long fish, isn't it? See, it's always worth having one more cast. That was on a yellow washed out wafter. It's not often that I catch on them, to be honest. Let's see if we can get another one down that margin. God, it shot off right for them reeds. Tighten our drag up a touch so it doesn't happen again. We're on this other one now. This last cast I think is going to turn into a... Oh, it was a bream, it's come off. Ah. This bream just proper leaped out of the water. Like a tarpon. I can't believe it. Another nice bream. A really nice bream, actually. Cast that one in. Getting some really nice chunky bream today. I'm quite impressed. Got another one on this right hand rod on the yellow. I think this is a carp, a small carp. Oh God, I think it's a bream. Fighting like a carp. Oh, it's heavy that. Nice fish. So I'm just about to put the feeder out for my fourth last cast. I'm just fish after fish after fish down this right hand margin at the minute on the yellow wafters. My dad's fuming. My dad's fuming because he's only had a few fish all day. I'm just pulling them out in this peg. But it was a slow start to the day, and it just seems to have picked up. Whether the bream have just moved into the swim or what, but they're all a good stamp of bream. You know, they're all 2-3 pound bream, which is good for anywhere. You know, I'll catch those kind of bream all day long, no problem.